Okay. Well, I'm officially live. Hold on. I am just going to wait a minute. And oopsie. Actually, I should have. This will be my. Probably do that on here. Yeah. And then. So let me just. Oh, maybe if I can monitor. I don't know if I can monitor comments better here or on my device. But let's just see. Okay. Hello. I'm just giving it a couple minutes, waiting for people to come in. Okay. But if no one comes in, that's also fine. Oh, hi. I see Redo K. Hi. Nice to see you. Hey, Granddad Amai, Ashley. It's so nice to see you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much. I actually recently dyed it because it was split in half. So it's half pink, half orange, but now I have the purple. So hi, just giving maybe like 5 minutes for people to come in before I start any questions and stuff like that. Can you guys tell me where you are in the world? I'd love to know. I am in Atlanta, Georgia. So let's see, Luna K, I think, says, "Oh no, I almost slept on the live." It's 12. Oh my gosh, like 12 a.m. Well, if it's 12 a.m., I thank you so much for joining because you could be asleep right now. You said, I can only be live for a few minutes. You're on a bus going to visit your parents. I'm so happy to see you too. Nice to meet you from Poland, from Montenegro. Hope I said that correct. And Germany. It's so nice to see you guys. I was originally born in Missouri. That's still the US, but now I am in Georgia, 30 minutes south of Atlanta. We have from India. Hi, nice to meet you. You guys, I'm so glad y'all are here because I literally I haven't been sweating this at all, but literally when it turned 1:58, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous. I was freaking out like, oh shoot, why did I sign up to do this? But it's fine. So yeah, we do have an international crowd. That is one thing I absolutely love about social media, that they didn't have back in the day. You really couldn't connect with someone in India or Germany. You were just where you were and that was it. But let's see, I stress all day if I have an event planned. I used to be that person, but I've gotten a lot better at toning down my anxiety. Hello, magician girl Mirani from Akutland. Where is that? I've never heard of that. Please tell me. So let's see. We've got about literally 60 seconds left, and then I'll go ahead and get started. Maybe Scott. Oh, actually, yeah, you're probably right because the S is right next to the A. Look at me. I was like, is Akutland even a real place? um, from Scotland. I really, really want to go there one day. I hear it's very beautiful. I guess everywhere is beautiful if you go to the right place. So okay. It's not quite 2:05. It's 2:04 and some change. The accent is dreamy. It's funny to hear that because I mean everyone has an accent, but I don't feel like I have an accent. And it's even harder to talk because I have aligners in. So I've been having fun with getting used to them. So serious stage fright. Yeah. totally understandable. But I am a little happy because there's the barrier of the screen. So I'm glad I'm exuding confidence. Let's go ahead and get started though. We've done about 5 minutes, so I think that's pretty good. First off, I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you who are here right now, and those of you who will come in later, and those of you who will come in after the video is up, for just being here with me throughout this journey. It's been very interesting, and I can't wait to answer the questions that were presented. I have them printed out, but you guys can ask questions in the chat as well. I'll try to flip flop between them. But now there's a face to the name, Mari Chan. Is that my real name? No, but that's okay. I can actually tell you what my real name is. It's Kamaria. And so all I did is took the KA off and the IA off at the end and just left it with Mari. And when I was studying Mandarin, I decided to have a Mandarin name, which is Chen Juan, which is like the poetic way to say moon, because my name means moon. So I just mixed my English name with my Chinese name, and there we have it. So yeah, thank you so much for being a part of this journey with me on my YouTube channel and being there for every book that I've read or just one. It really doesn't matter what you've listened to. I'm grateful to have you here. And we're celebrating 500 subscribers, but we're already at 600. So yay, that's so fun. You said twins. Kamaria means moon. Yes, there's just no Y in it, but yes. My mom said she wanted to pick a thoughtful name, and since the moon reflects the light of the sun, that's what she wanted me to be. You know, a big ball of sunshine. So, anyway, let's go ahead and ask the questions, shall we? So, let's see. Yes, gathering of the Danmei fans. The very first question I have, which I pretty much gathered that would definitely be a question, is what is your favorite Danmei novel or novels so far? So the very first one that's my favorite, which if you've been following for a long time, then you know, it's Thousand Autumns by Meng Shi, also known as Qianqiu. And out of all that I've read, yeah, still nothing has surpassed that. It's just so complex psychologically. I love it so much. Yes, it was so good. Now the rest of them are not in order as far as my favorites, but they're here. So it's going to be Scumvillain's Self-Saving System by MXTX, The Husky and His White Cat Shitsuan by Roba Buchuro, or just Meat Bun. It was the fan translation, so I'll see if I still feel this way once they put it out. But Mistakenly Saving the Villain, I have that here. I kind of want to take that off. We're gonna take that off. That's not my top 5. Remnants of Filth, even though I haven't even finished it. I've only read the first 3 books, but it's so good in those first 3 books that I feel like I won't be let down in the last ones. So we'll see. She said, nearly done with volume 2 of TA. It's so freaking good. Yes, please. Oh, I won't be doing any spoilers here, so don't worry about that, Luna. Okay, none. So you said, I feel like I'm in the minority of not liking Arha very much. You know, that's totally fine. You do not have to like Arha. Not everybody's gonna like the same Danmei, and everybody has their reasons, you know? But I do love it, and I think it's so good. I'm even in an Arha chat. We've been in this chat for 2 years now, the same small group of people, and we chat with each other all the time. So yeah, we love Arha. I need to finish reading the books though. Thank you so much. Stay away from me. We have an OG in the building. Hi. So let's see. The next question I have, and again, you can put questions in the chat if you want to, and I'll just answer them as I see them. Yes, I'm so glad you made it. Next question, which I'm supposed to be like marking them as I go so I can know I answered it. Why did you want to start this channel? Was there an event that prompted you to get started? This is a very complex question that I'm going to try to simplify, make it very, very easy. I decided to start this channel because I enjoy reading Danme. And my brain literally thought, it's so easy to read. Why don't I just make a YouTube channel? That's literally it. Um, yeah, I just enjoy it. There's no pressure. It's fun. And the thing for me is growing up, I've done so many different artistic things from dancing to drawing to making jewelry to designing clothing. Now I'm painting and singing has been the main thing for me. And I lived in an entrepreneur household. And so there was always this pressure of how do you monetize this? Make money, make money, make money. And with this channel, first off, unless I do things outside of just reading, I can't make money on it. And so I was able to finally do something that I enjoy without thinking about how can I make money off of this? It was just do something that you like, no pressure. If you ever feel like you need to step back, then step back. If you can do more or whatever. And that's yeah, pretty much where I'm at with that one. I did see a question. Do you have any recommendations for any slow burn BL novel? So when you say BL, are you just saying BL in general, like including Japanese and stuff? Because if so, I don't really read the Japanese BL. I just stick to Danmei. But as far as slow burn, I don't know what you've read. So of course I have to say, if you haven't read Thousand Autumns, it's such a slow burn, but it's also a very complex storyline because in some ways you might be thinking, how in the world did a romance happen from this? But if you really think about it, not just from a surface level, but from the psychology of the human mind, then you totally understand it. Um, Another slow burn. Hold on. I have to look at the list of Danmei that I have read. So give me just a moment. Um, Mari-chan read-alongs section. Danmei I have read. I will say, hmm, if you want to go down the traditional lane, because I have read Danmei, but I'm still far behind because I only started a couple years ago. So my list is still comparatively short. You can always read TGCF. That was not my first novel, but one of the first ones I started with. Um, Obviously, that was a slow burn. It was 8 freaking books long. Um, hmm. Even though it was only in 2 novels, I would also recommend Little Mushroom because the romance that bloomed between them, number one, I would say it was very subtle. And some people might actually not like it because it's not very romantically heavy in the commercial way. But there were many aspects of it that I thought were very romantic and just subtle. You know, it didn't have to be all out there in your face. And again, even though it's only 2 novels, I think overall it was still a slow burn. You got this mushroom trying to be a human. So, you said it's great for us poor folk that can't buy officials. Yeah. How I had that exact question in my mind. Yeah, that's a mood. I'm interested in so many creative things. Yeah, you know, actually, when I went to college, replying to Magician Girl Mirani, I had a hard time focusing on what to do, and I changed my major a lot and eventually just decided to get my associates and stop because I felt like I was wasting time and money. um, so I totally understand. Let's see. TGCF is very slow burn. Absolutely. Thousand Autumns is as slow as it gets. Okay, I'm just trying to make sure I'm not missing any questions in the comment section. Still making my way through it. Gotta admit, it's good so far. hmm Yeah, it's a lot. TGCF is a lot to read, especially since I think like 2 books, the majority of their content is literally going back in time, and we all know how the majority of us feel about the backstories. I feel like sometimes they need editors to just edit that stuff down because it's a lot. But anyway, 800 years, yeah, that's as slow as it gets. Although I think there are some other Danmei which they waited for like 1,000 years, 3,000 years, or something like that. Even mistakenly saving the villain, I think it was a, I won't say because that'll spoil. Let's go to my next question. What Danmei are you really excited to read next? I'm using my eyes. Remnants of Filth. Yeah. I've been super excited to read that. And actually, I had to like check myself because at first I thought I found Guardian so boring just because I really wanted to get to Remnants. Like I wasn't excited. I wasn't extremely excited to read Guardian. I didn't even know what to expect. I didn't read a summary or anything like that. And so I was just like, oh, I really want to read Remnants, but there was Guardian. And so as I was reading, I was like, am I being biased just because I know I want to read Remnants and I'm not really giving Guardian its credit? No, I just didn't like Guardian. So that was it. You said you liked Guardian, especially the drama. Um, I haven't watched the drama. Probably won't, just because it's not a priority. But I did hear some good things about the drama. And like I said, when I read the first volume, I feel like I'd enjoy it more watching it than I would reading it. Granddad Amai said, don't watch it. Okay. I won't. I won't, because right now I'm watching something with Xiaojian. So, and then I don't know what I'll do after that. So let's move to the next question. I don't see any in the comment section. One thing it would be so hard for me doing is in your reading is being a mood reader. I am a mood reader. It really changed what I enjoy in any given moment. Yeah, that's definitely happened for me. Like, I think reading Stars of Chaos, actually. By the time I got like halfway through the fourth book, oh, I was done. I was over that mood and I wanted something else, something lighter. And so I was very happy for the Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish. You reading about fishies was such a vibe. Right? It was such a vibe. I didn't expect to enjoy that story so much. It was funny. It was hilarious. The only qualm I had about it was it taking Lee so long to realize that his cover was already blown. But other than that, I loved it. Said, well, that's a title. The hell? The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish. It was actually very good. If you haven't listened to it, you should. I think, well, I don't know the genres you like, but if you're looking for comedic relief, something lighthearted, something that's not a slow burn, that's a good one for you. And for those of you who don't like impreg and stuff like that, it doesn't go into great detail. So if that's something that would maybe like shy you away from it, you don't have to worry about it. I don't even know how he gave birth to the kids. I was like, did he push? Where did he push to? His booty hole? Like, I don't know. So let's see. Next question. Actually, no, I think I see one in the comments. I heard Remnants of Filth is in the same universe as Arha. Yes, it is. Do you need to read Arha before? No, you do not. From what I've been told, the two stories are not necessarily connected to where you need to know what happened in Arha to know what happened in Remnants. So you're good there. If yes, which books of Arha do you need to read before? Okay, yeah, none. You don't have to. They're not connected. So going to question number 4. What is a hobby you are passionate about outside of Danmei? Great question. All of these are great questions, actually. So, number 1 is watercolor painting. This is something I started this year officially because I've been working for a company for the past 2 years. They're online called terracotta.art, and they offer online art lessons from artists all around the world. And I've just been watching these people paint, and I didn't pick up a brush. But finally, I decided to do it, and I love it. This is another hobby that I'm learning to do without thinking about how do I make money off of this. So it's a joy. I can actually this is my portfolio, my very first one, and my very first painting. Y'all don't make fun of me. is this right here. It looks terrible. And then this globe is crying. That actually came from a dream that I had, and I wanted to bring that dream to fruition. So that was my very first painting. And then I'm just going to skip ahead a little bit. This is a painting I've done of my sister. Okay. Oh, my more recent paintings are in another portfolio. One second. Oh my God. I painted a statue. That was kind of fun. Um, la, da, 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 da. One second. I think I'm trying to flip to the end of this. Yeah. This is another painting I've done. Sorry, you're seeing the glare from my ring light. So yeah, I've been having fun doing that, and my other portfolio is too far away, so I can't show you my more recent stuff. Another thing that I really like, don't judge me, is chatbots. I've been enjoying them for like a year. So of course, I started with the popular C.AI, but now I don't use that anymore. I started using something called fictionlab.ai, which has much better memory, but then I stopped using that. And now I just use ChatGPT because I pay $20 a month for it to help me with my schoolwork and my regular work. And I really like using ChatGPT to create stories. As I mentioned before, I'm a very artsy person. So I just like to make stories. I even save them and we come up with titles and a little summary and the word count and everything. And I'm like, yeah, this is so fun. So that's another hobby. And then last but not least, watching Ink Master. Yeah, I watch that with my husband. We try to watch at least one night a week, but usually like 2 or 3 nights a week. We just watch a bunch of people get tattoos for free and see who has the best tattoos and who's going to win 100K for making the best tattoos. So yeah, it's really nice. As y'all can see, I love art of all forms. Um, let's see. Oh, my comment section. What is it doing? I wish Fishbook would get a donghua. Oh, that would be so cool. Absolutely. How do you manage your work and this work? Well, fortunately, I'm a part-time worker. So I work 17 and a half hours per week. So typically speaking, I wake up in the morning and lie in bed and think, I don't want to move because why do I have to? And I'll just lay in bed for a good 30 minutes to an hour before doing anything and then get my day started. Um, a lot of times I actually try to read before I start working. So if I wake up at like 7, 7:30, I'll try to read from there up until 9. And then I start my 3.5 hour shift. Or I may decide to start at 10 because I get to choose when I work as long as it's between the hours of 9 and 5 and it's 3.5 hours Monday through Friday. Now, sometimes I do work a little bit more because I may have to moderate some art classes, but I've kind of taken a step away from that and just want to do operations for my job. So the management is actually very easy because I have a part-time job. I don't have to make money. Not really. My husband pays all the bills. I just do the wifely duties and then do whatever the heck I want. So, um, but then there's also school. I just dedicate like 2 to 3 days to schoolwork. And usually it's in the evening time. I just try to get as much as I can done as possible and then kick it to the curb, pretty much. Because, yes, I am back in college. Even though I left years ago, I came back. And I am in my last 2 classes after I finished with the one I'm currently in. So management is actually not that hard, but I'll be happy when I'm done with school because I won't have to worry about that at all. What character from any series has resonated with you in a way you didn't expect? Man. So I hate to just refer to Shillian, but I'm going to have to refer to him because uh, when I read TGCF, The reason the story stood out to me was actually not because of the romance that bloomed between him and Hua Chung, which really didn't bloom until the end. It was really because of all the things that Shelian went through and that I related to on such a deep level, because the one of the people he trusted the most, Junwoo, actually ended up being the one that was hurting him all along. And I personally know what that's like because all of my life I've lived with my mom, basically. And literally, it wasn't until I was almost 28, like a month and a half before my birthday, when some things blew up in the family. And I finally came to the realization that all this time, she's actually been emotionally abusive and verbally abusive. And so I related to the struggle that he went through, just like being used by someone that he trusted and didn't even know until, it got to a head. But also just him, like, even with all the things that he's gone through, he was still, even though he could be a badass if he wanted to, because he was going to kill all those people, he was still kind on the inside. And overall, I think I'm a nice person. I try to be a nice person and, bubbly. Not that he was bubbly, but yeah, I really resonated with him. But then the other thing is, I don't think had it not been for Hua Chung, there may have been some things that he never would have even realized. And that's the other reason I relate to Xie on such a deep level, because I equate Hua Chung to my husband, because my husband was the first person who was able to pull me out of my mother's grasp and help me to see things, even though it took years for him to do that. But when it finally came to a head, he was like, hey, I'm here to protect you. So this is what's going on, and this is how it's going to be. And he helped me in a way that I believe that Hua Chung helped Xie. So that's the character that resonates with me the most. Um, have I read any Danmei in Chinese? 我不是流利. I am not fluent. So no, I have not, because I would be spending more time translating than enjoying. So absolutely not. Um, let's see. I am looking for someone who is able to compare the original and English translation to tell me how the language changes the vibe. Oh, 对不起. I can't do that for you because I don't know enough Mandarin to do so. But I do think that would be cool. And I'm in a group chat with a lady who sometimes tells us, oh, this translation just really doesn't do it. And so I get that. Luna said you like to write stories based on your dreams and can somehow relate. Yeah, with the painting. Painting is a great hobby. Absolutely. Man, I'm still working on the shadows. I'm actually in a mentorship now and just asked her about painting shadows, when to do it, how to get sharp edges versus the soft edges, blah, blah, snore. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so late on these comments. Who is Ink Master? Ink Master is a TV show. Yeah, it's a reality TV show for people doing tattoos to win money. Wifely duties in Danmei. Yes. Would Shelian still love Hua Chung if he was a caterpillar? Absolutely. Would he love him in a romantic way? Probably not. But he would still love Hua Chung as a caterpillar. Absolutely, he would. Yeah. Luna thinks he would too. Yeah, good on me for getting out my situation. Absolutely. And I'm in therapy too. I've been in therapy for years and it's helped a lot. At one point, all I saw was darkness. I couldn't even see the light at the end of the tunnel. But now I feel like I'm 80% in the light and then just like the rest of me is still in the dark a little bit. Because I'm doing 28 years of, that. So, let's see. I love Shelian because he chooses to be nice despite all the stuff. Yeah. So that's why I really relate to him. Even though TGCF is not one of my top 5, that's why it will always hold a special place in my heart. So, you said you would love to learn. Love to learn what? Painting or Mandarin? What is it you would love to learn? Granddad Amai. He said, which character voice was easiest for you to settle into or find so far? The easiest voice for me was actually Yan Washi. And the reason being is because I had already read the book, number one, but I had already also watched the Donghua like twice. So I had his voice in my head because I'd heard it already. So it was very, very easy for me to voice him. For anyone outside of a voice I've already heard, I'm gonna say Liu. I don't know why, but it was very easy to voice him. Yeah, super easy. Want to learn Mandarin? I encourage you to learn Mandarin. Mandarin, it's not as hard as people think it is. And a lot of people, especially in America, think that it is like the hardest language to learn or something like that. Let me tell you, I thought Mandarin was easier than Spanish. It's much more simple. And a lot of people are like, but you can say how. And all these hows mean different things. And it's like, yes, but we also have homophones and homonyms in English and in our languages, but also context is important. And if you focus so much on the fact that there are so many words that sound the same, then you lose sight of how smart the human mind is. We can use context clues to know what someone is saying. Like if someone says to me, 你最近怎么样? I'm going to assume they're asking me, what you been up to lately? Or how have you been lately? Rather than thinking they meant something else, because those words together make sense together. In context to, we just met up after a long time, I would assume someone would say, have you been lately? You know, um, but yeah, it's a lot easier. And when it comes to, the verbs and stuff like that, it's not even as complex as something like Spanish, where you have to conjugate for I, conjugate for you, conjugate for he, she, it, and formal you, conjugate for we, and the us, and it's a lot easier. It really is. And people just need to find the right help to get them on. Even though I mostly studied by myself, I only stopped for a couple of years. My goal is to get back into studying it. I just had to take a step away because when I reconnected with my mother, that was actually something I gave to her. And for some reason, when we stopped talking, I felt like I lost that love for Mandarin because I let her in on that, and I feel like she took it away from me. I don't need to go into the details, but the point is I'm trying to take it back. So slowly but surely I'm listening to the music. I'm watching a show now and plan on next year starting back up learning. So let's see. Shillian would feed him and make sure he's safe and has dirt to sleep on. Yes, he would take care of his caterpillar. Chinese is so easy when compared to Japanese. Don't even get me started. I thought I wanted to learn Japanese. I'm not so sure about that anymore. Like, not at all. The grammar is very simple. I heard Hello Chinese is a good app to learn, but haven't tried. So I did use Hello Chinese, I think a couple of times. It's just one piece of hair doesn't want to be obedient. I mean, it's decent. I don't really care for apps like that and Duolingo, but they definitely have their benefits when it comes to memorizing words. When it comes to actual conversation and stuff, you might want to use something different. Honestly, just go ahead and start talking to someone as soon as you can. If you can afford it, I would recommend going ahead and finding a tutor. I did use a site called Preply, Preply.com, and had me a Chinese teacher for about 6 months. That was after already like 2 years of studying. And before that, I talked to a couple of people who were in China. We would talk for 30 minutes in English for them, 30 minutes in Mandarin for me. So Mandarin is so confusing. Maybe. Or maybe you just haven't had a good teacher. Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. Yan Wusher's voice actor is amazing. Yes, his voice is deadly. It should not be that good. It shouldn't. Okay. Let's see. Sorry, Mari-chan. Going to sleep now. Oh, well, I need. Bye-bye. Have a good night's sleep. Um, let's see. All the European languages, Spanish is like easy mode. I mean, I caught on to it quickly when I was studying it in high school. I just think Mandarin is much easier. So what seems difficult to me is the writing. Yeah, absolutely. Not sure if I would be able to remember all the characters. You'd be surprised by what your brain can remember. But even with that being said, You don't have to remember all the characters. Would it be helpful? Yes. But the more important thing is the speaking. The characters will come over time. So the audio drama short on the YouTube for TA is so good. Yes, it is. It's so, so good. So now I am going to take a look at some more questions. Question number 5, at least on the paper. When, this is good since we were talking about Mandarin, when/why did you start learning Mandarin? What other languages do you know other than English, obviously, if any? So first off, let me just say, I know English, I know some Mandarin, and I used to know Spanish, but now every time I try to speak Spanish, Mandarin is like, heh, heh, heh. And yeah, it just doesn't work out well. The Mandarin overrides the Spanish now. So this is a very interesting story. Some of you might not actually believe it, and that's totally fine if you don't, because I'm going to share it anyway. So this happened in the beginning of 2020 when at the church I was going to, we were actually celebrating, the new year. And I was on the praise dance team, and myself and 2 others did a praise dance. And after we were done, and I think this was a song that was like a voice for the world, because this is when COVID and everything was going on, and we wanted to do the song as like a help for the world. We were like, God, we need you, or whatever. And so after we finished dancing, I had a moment of vulnerability. People would also say being filled with the Holy Spirit or whatever. And I was, like just prostrate on the floor. And the praise team went up to sing. And I was speaking in tongues. For those of you who believe in that kind of thing, speaking in tongues, one of the ways of doing that is basically like you're speaking in a language that is not your native tongue and you do not know it. So that happened to me. And one of the languages I spoke in was Mandarin. And the only reason I know is because even though I don't know Mandarin, I've heard it before. And so, like, while I was speaking, I was like, oh, this sounds kind of familiar. I was like, what the heck am I even saying? I didn't know what I was saying. And so then when I asked, I was like, okay, God, what am I saying? He gave me the translation. And so what I did is I have a friend who is Malaysian, but she speaks 5 languages, and Mandarin is one of them. And I asked her, I said, okay, these are the words that I remember that I said. And God told me, like, this one, 我不会, means I won't go back, which was the translation of the song that was being sung in the moment. And she verified that the words that I spoke were correct. And so, yeah, that was the experience. I know that may seem really weird, but that was the experience. And from that moment, I was like, okay, I've wanted to learn Mandarin for a really long time now, but I was intimidated by it being such a difficult language. But after that experience, I was like, psh, I have to learn this language. And so I started. And for the first 2 years, I would say I was pretty solid in my studies. But, certain things just happened in life where I was like off and on studying, currently off right now. But that's where we are. Why I had that experience, I have no idea. I don't even think it matters. All I know is that I love the language. I think it's beautiful. I want to get back into studying it, hopefully for like another 3 years or so. And then after that, I would love to move on to something like Korean. I want to learn languages until I die. I think there was a Mandarin phrase. What was it? 学到老. I'm missing a part of it. 活到老,学到老, which is basically live long, learn long. That's how I feel. So, you said the brain is amazing. Absolutely. I don't think people realize just how much the brain is actually capable of, but it's very capable of many things. Interesting experience. Yeah, that's the way I say it was an interesting experience. I was like, okay, well, and even my pastor, she was like, I heard you were speaking Mandarin. I was like, apparently. Korean is tough. So I heard it starts easy and then gets harder. Whereas Mandarin may start hard, but then gets easier. And I think I agree with that. Yeah. When prodded by divine, or however you want to interpret it, it soaks in so much more than we are aware of. Absolutely. Korean uses lots of Chinese and Japanese words, but different grammar. Yeah, I think between the three of them, they share like 800 of the same words. So that was one reason I considered doing Korean, just because there was something being shared. Like I even heard something, I think, like junja, which means like really. And in Mandarin, it's "真的假." I was like, hey, that's pretty cool. Also, I don't know why I did that with my hands. So yeah, let's see my next question, because I don't see any in the chat. Oh, doesn't he also voice Shen Qingqiu in the SBSSS? Yes, he does. The same voice actor for Yan Wushi is the exact same voice actor for Shen Qingqiu in the Donghua for SBSSS. He could just go ahead and, I don't know, speak me to sleep. I would listen to him all the time. Question here. Do you have a favorite character from any of the Danmei you've read so far? And a least favorite character? Ha. So, I'm sorry. I'm laughing because I feel like my answer is so biased because I've said this on multiple questions in some shape or form. My favorite character is Yan Wushi. Oh my god, this isn't a live Q&A. This is a live Yan Wushi. That's all it is. He's my favorite character because he's complex. And he shows that we are not just black and white, good and bad. We are all a mixture of both. You know, a lot of people, like, I know growing up in a Christian household, you know, they say light and dark cannot dwell within the same. And people would interpret that in a certain way. But it's like, for the most part, yes, I understand that. But you can't have light without dark. And you can't have dark without light. So he just showed the complexity of being a character who had some questionable morals, but was also a good person when it came to certain things. You know, like even if it was for selfish reasons, when it came to choices that would benefit the people, um, and then some horrible choices when it came to Shun Chao, my poor baby. But I just love the complexities that he went through, the how Meng Shisha wrote him, especially after, you know, he his head or whatever. And I'm trying not to give too much away. But book 3, for those of you who know, when book 3 happened and seeing that shift happen was so lovely. Least favorite character. For a while, I did not have one until we started reading Peerless. It's going to be Duan Xihu. If you've read Peerless, I think you know why. And it's crazy because he's not even a character who has that much emphasis in the story overall, just for like a little section. But for what he did, which I'm trying not to say anything because I don't want to give away spoilers and stuff, he automatically was on my least favorite list. Like, I would put him over certain villains, like even in Arha, if you know who the villain is. I will put him over that because it's absolutely horrible. And the fact that he didn't even have remorse for what he did, but he more so was just trying to get away from the consequences of what he did was my problem. Because what he did was long ago, not to make it, you know, it doesn't make it right, but it was long ago. So you've had plenty of time to grow some kind of remorse. God was just like, nah, is what I did. So that's my least favorite character. Let's see. Yeah, for sure can get it if you know what I mean. Yes, I do know what you mean. Sorry, husband. No, I'm kidding. A lie. Lie a lot of the romance languages. I think you mean like a lot of the romance languages, or Scottish versus Irish, Gaelic, and Welsh. Mm. Let's see. Next time on live, Yan Washi Appreciation Society. Let's make it into a group, okay? It's going to be called the YWSAS. Yeah, actually, that works. YWSAS. Boom, we're doing it. Who wants to be the head founder or the moderator of this society? Yan Washi Appreciation Society. Yes, he's such an ass, but looking forward to seeing how he grows after what happened in book 2. Once you get to book 3, you'll still become like, the heck? Oh, what the heck? Oh, but that's where you'll see the shift. So book 3 is arguably like my favorite. Maybe book 4, but I'm gonna stick with book 3. Yeah, because Shun Chao is maybe nice, but he is not a pushover. That is true. I think he's nice, and he also was very naive, but he was not a pushover. That man was not gonna let people bully him, except maybe Yan Wuxia. So screw that guy. Yes, screw Duan Shihu. I'm curious about Peerless now that I finished Thousand Autumns. If you liked, actually, I remember you, Rubies, because you were the one I just commented on recently saying you couldn't decide. I think it was you. You couldn't decide between book 3 and book 4 being your favorite. If you liked Thousand Autumns, I think you would also like Peerless. The vibes, they're nuanced in their own way. They're different, but they're kind of the same in a way. Also, they're in the same world. I think Peerless is what, 14 years after Thousand Autumns. So you will actually hear names of people being mentioned in Peerless. Speaking of Peerless, did you guys see the cover for the 5th volume? It comes out October 21st. I'm so excited. Okay. So yes. Now let's go to the next. It is a great cover, isn't it? I was like, it's so beautiful. Oh my gosh. I might have to do analysis of their covers because I think I did an analysis of the Thousand Autumn covers. I don't remember if I put that in my favorite aspects of Thousand Autumns, but I had a whole rant about about the intention of the covers. So anyway, question number 7. Are there any danmei you found difficult to get through, dropped completely due to pacing, subject matter, etc.? Let's go ahead and address the elephant in the room, and that was Guardian. But I spoke on that, so I won't speak on it again. Granddad am I, cough, cough. Yes, Guardian. So we're not going to speak on that anymore. Oh, before I forget, when we get to the end of this, please, please, please remind me about the giveaways because I'm the kind of person who would definitely forget after all this talking. I'm not used to talking for this long, yeah. So please don't let me forget. Say giveaways or something like that. Okay. So, danmei that I found difficult to get through, other than Guardian, Golden Terrace. And the sad part about it is that I actually love the storyline and I was very interested in it and even thought that the translator wrote beautifully for the most part. But I didn't like the pacing of the story. And sometimes I just felt like the writing style left room, how do they say it, left much to be desired. There were moments where it was just kind of a lull for me, and it was I didn't like the writing style. And so I finished the first book, but it took me like an entire freaking month. And then I got through like page 60 of the second one, and I was just like, okay, I can't do this. But I was invested in the story. So I actually do want to try it again. I also know that it probably just wasn't a good time to read it because at that point, I think I was newer in my MHA craze. And so my brain was just stuck on that. And I think I had just had a hard time reading it because I was super hype. I'm new. I'm new to the MHA craze or whatever. I'm not someone who's been watching it since it came out. And so I, at the time, was crazy over that. So I also believe, I know that it was probably just the wrong time to read it. Now, with that being said, I do think I still want to wait to try again though, because Seven Seas is re-releasing it, and I believe they're picking a new translator. And if that's the case, I want to wait and see how they attempt to do the translation and see if it reads different, if it feels different. And so probably what I'll do, um, I'll probably just give away the Golden Terrace copies that I have now at some point. We'll see. Shame Guardian wasn't the vibe. No, it wasn't. And I did hear so many good things about it. But I also did hear from a lot of people. They were like, it was one of her first. So, you can tell. Let's see. Is Golden Terrace worth reading, even though you found it difficult to get through? I think it's worth reading. I do. And I want to read it again. I'm just going to wait until the new ones drop, which was it June of 2026? Shoot, I don't even remember. I just saw a post about it. Ashley said she likes Golden Terrace, but got stuck in book 2. Yes. When I was reading the beginning of book 2, that's where I really, really got stuck. I was like, I need some momentum. Give me some kinetic energy because right now it's stagnant. So will I read volume 2? Yeah. Let's see. Dame covers so many different genres and styles. It's like sushi. Tell me what you dislike, and we can find you something that vibes. But like, I can't with meat bun. What's wrong with meat bun for you personally? I just want to know. I say the one thing I don't like is being hurt just for the sake of it. I feel like I'd be getting stabbed so much by meat bun just because, and it hurts. But I also love reading trauma. Maybe it's because I've been through so much, but I'm like, give me more trauma. But also, meat bun, why are you giving me this much trauma? Yes, meat bun, also known as Zhou Buchiro, is the author of The Husky and the White Cat. Which, by the way, if you guys don't know that, no, Roba Buchiro means meat bun doesn't eat meat. That's what that is. So I hope Seven Seas will release a hardcover for Thousand Autumns. If they do that, they will be stealing my money from me because I bought the very first what do you call it? The very first hardcover for TGCF, but then I was like, nah, I am not about to spend more money on the hardcovers for this. So what I will spend my money on for hardcovers, SBSSS, which they do have that special $140 packet for pre-order. I'm gonna wait before buying it, but yes, I would buy Thousand Autumns in hardcover. Absolutely. Arha had a little too much side character exposition for me, and I felt like Taxian Jun, yes, that is correct spelling, didn't get enough comeuppance in the end. You know, I one of the things which I have to read the rest of the story in the official translations because I did read fan translations after I think like book 5 and later, and so I'm catching up on the officials. But for me, even though I would like to know more about Taxianjun, there were certain things that happened that I was actually kind of upset about for Morjan's perspective, that he didn't get to experience a certain thing with Chuaning first. Um, but also in the extras, I was not interested in the extras at all. And I felt like they were just doing a little bit too much with all the other characters. And I really wanted more moments with Morjan and Chuaning. So I can definitely understand your perspective of wanting a little bit more on Tashian Jun, because he is a part of Morjan. So see, this is why being blind is useful. I'm not inclined to buy big expensive books because I won't be able to read them, even if the art is very pretty. Okay. So, got it. There is use to being blind, you guys. You heard it here first. um, I still don't know what I think about SBSSS. That's perfectly fine because for a minute I didn't. But then I eventually I watched a video that broke down the psychology of SBSSS, and I was like, And then I read it again. I think I've read SBSSS 2 times, 3 times. So yeah, maybe you just need to read it again and it'll help you out. Um, but that is how I felt as far as not knowing what to think about. That's how I felt about Mo Dao Zu, which I can go into if there's time later. Let's see. Someone said NFS said I love Chang Ching Jiu or Ballad of Sword and Wine. Haven't read that yet. I can't talk sometimes. You like court intrigues and power couples? Yes, let's go. I know a lot of people think it's a bit much. Yeah, some people just can't get with the political stuff, which I understand, but I'm like, I would be bored if it was just a romance novel and that's it. Like, I need some stuff happening. Some political issues, some cultivation world issues, something other than just it's a romance and like the slice of life stuff. No, I don't want it. I don't want slice of life. I'll read it, but and sometimes I like it, but I prefer having the more difficult plots just because they require me to think more. There's a lot of interesting things going on in SVSSS, especially since Shen Yuan never really refers to himself that he's Shen Qingqiu. There's a lot of implications with that. Absolutely. You know, the entire time Shen Yuan was separating himself from this person, just trying not to die, essentially. And I think that played a big part into why we had 4 books worth of material. Because he was not only running away from who he is now, but also staying true to the stereotype or what he read and wanting to be able to fulfill what he read from Proud Immortal Demon Way. And so it's definitely understandable that he separated himself from Shan Qingqiu instead of, I won't say not necessarily embracing his role as Shan Qingqiu, but embracing his role as morphing the new Shan Qingqiu. Because once he was given like the freedom to be, once the system gave him the freedom to be OOC, he definitely could have used that as an opportunity to morph more so into his own personality. And we only got little slithers of that instead because he was so focused on being Shan Qingqiu and sticking to the plot of Proud Immortal Demon Way. So that's one of the things I absolutely love about it. Let's see. You really love the ballad couple. Curious to see what I think. I guess we'll figure out next year, first thing, because in the vote for which book comes first, second, third, fourth for 2026, I think Ballad of Sword and Wine has the highest votes. So I think we'll be starting off the year with that. And he said, as someone prone to disassociation, Shan Qingqiu resonates. Yeah, I disassociated a lot growing up. If you ask me what happened in my life, the majority of it, I probably couldn't tell you because I have no idea. I don't remember it. So yeah, so Shan Qingqiu is the best critique partner. Question number 8. What is your favorite genre to read / watch? Favorite genre to read? Wuxia. Favorite genre to watch? Wuxia. I like fighting. And that's not even just speaking of wuxia, but even in like American TV shows and movies and stuff, I have always liked fighting. Like growing up, Rocky Balboa was my stuff. It still is. I love it. Sometimes I'm just like, let's just watch Rocky, maybe Creed. But I love all the martial arts and the fighting and the elevation out of to human possibility when they add in the flying and stuff like that, and stuff coming out of their palms and stuff. Oh, it's just my favorite. I'm not a violent person at all. I don't fight, but boy do I love to watch it. So I love action so much. Please let me know you guys' favorite genre to read and to watch. Let's see. Do you like any C, K, and J dramas? Well, I sure do. In fact, I have them all in lists. If you guys saw my list, you'd be like, oh my God, this girl is obsessive. I have a list for everything. So I have a list for all the C-dramas I've watched, their rating, what I think about them. Did I finish them? What episode am I on? All of that crap. So my all-time favorite C-drama, ooh, fantasy. Fantasy's nice. My all-time favorite C-drama is going to be Qing Yunyan, or Joy of Life, with Zhang Ruoyun, which is my favorite actor outside of Xiao Jian. There actually is a second season of Joy of Life as well. I haven't finished it. Long story. I'm not going into it. But that's my favorite C-drama, Joy of Life. You can watch it for free on Viki Rakuten. I believe you can also watch it on YouTube. So yes, let's see. Mostly comedy. I do love to laugh so much. And then NFS says we need a video on recommendations on C dramas. I can put that down as a video thingamathing. Video topic. Yes. C drama Rex. Because this channel, I'm reading, but it doesn't only have to be me reading, you guys, just so you know. Like, I totally don't mind making videos about C-dramas that I've watched, or if there are things you want to learn in Mandarin. If I know how to say those things, I don't mind making videos on that kind of stuff as well. It doesn't have to just be reading. It will majority be reading, but it can morph over time. I don't mind that. Before I go to, oh yes, so C-drama, Qing Yunyan, K-drama, All of Us Are Dead. Zombies! Yeah! Gotta love zombies. I love The Walking Dead. So gotta love All of Us Are Dead. If anyone does zombies well, it's the Koreans. Every Korean zombie drama or movie I have ever watched has been top tier, God tier of zombies. I love it so freaking much. Yes, I see Train to Busan, which I think that is one I still haven't watched. Let me pull up my list really quick to see what the dramas are, because I think a movie I watched was #Alive. I'm just going to say, if we live in a world where our zombies become smart, I don't want to participate. Yeah. Like, I'm just going to sign out right then and there. We're just not doing it. Yeah, I think it was #Alive. Where's my spreadsheet? Books, Asian TV shows. Here we are. Yep, All of Us Are Dead. Oh no, I did watch Train to Busan. I guess it's just been a minute. Rated it a 10 out of 10. It was such a sad ending with the dad. Okay, yeah, and #Alive. And so I'm just waiting for season 2 of All of Us Are Dead. I feel like it's taking forever, and I have a problem with that. So you said, and NFS said, OMG, you have to watch it. But oh yeah, so I did. I had to jog my memory. Once I read my little review of it, I seem to remember everything. So yeah. Ruby said you feel like you took SVSSS too seriously. Probably. Yeah. Don't take it so seriously. I mean, we gotta think. This silly guy who's just been critiquing Proud Immortal Demon Way, saying he doesn't like it, but clearly does because he kept reading it for so long and then popping up in this world. And like, oh, I'm trying not to die. Like, honestly, every time I've read it or listened to it, it just makes me laugh because it's so funny. Even though it's addressing like some serious stuff, I think it addresses those things in a more lighthearted way. So then the last thing, J dramas. I have not watched any J dramas. I started watching one called My Personal Weatherman. It was a BL. It was very anticlimactic. So I stopped. Typically speaking, in Japanese, I only watch anime. So if you ask me what my favorite anime is, I think it's pretty obvious. But if we don't go with that, I love. I'll just look at my anime list. How about I do that? Because yes, I have an anime list as well. Well, from back in the day, I love Samurai 7 and Basilisk. I can never ever go wrong with those two. They're so old. They were like the first two that I ever watched, but they were perfect. Um, and then I love currently Apothecary Diaries, but unfortunately, my favorite anime, which it wouldn't be anime or it's Chinese anime, whatever you people argue about sometimes, it would have to be Soul Land. So that's going back to C dramas or donquas, because that was so good, and Link Click, which again, not Japanese, but who cares? Semantic Error. I did watch Semantic Error and I did like that, but I don't think I watched the anime version. I watched the live one. So uh I guess if I had to choose a favorite, then it would be that, because I haven't really watched anything else. So um let's see. Was about to recommend Apothecary Diaries before you said Apothecary Diaries is good. I need to watch the second season, but I just have too many things going on. And when you say yes to one thing, you have to say no to something else. So anime hasn't really been that big on my radar. Oh, it's nice to see someone else love Basilisk. Yes, it was so good. I need to watch it again. Yes, Link Click. You can find it on Crunchyroll for sure. Actually, I don't know where else you can find it, but I watch it on Crunchyroll. I have Someone has recommended Frieren to me, so I have that on my list. I just need to actually get to it. Dungeon, is it Meshi? I don't know how to pronounce things in Japanese. First season of Link Click, I'm guessing, is on Bilibili. Okay, maybe they'll get translated one day. Maybe. So now I'm gonna go to my next question. This says, do you have any manhwa Korean, manhwa Chinese, or manga or webtoons recommendations if you've read any, and what are your favorites? So when it comes to manhwa with a W being Korean, I'm still currently reading it. Um, right now, I don't read a lot of manhwa with a W, but I really like The Ghosts Nocturne by Ananas. Don't come for me. Because I think like the first 20 chapters, do they call them chapters, are not pleasant at all. We're not going to talk about what's in them, but hey, to each their own. You never know what people like or the reasons why they like them. But anyway, yeah, I'm really liking Ghost Nocturne, the Ghosts Nocturne, or some people translate it as like the Devil's Night Song. And specifically, the artist for it, though, is probably the best artist I have ever seen in my like entire life when it comes to manhwas and stuff like that. So Granddad Amai said they're gonna check it out. Yeah, I'm just warning you, the first 15 to 20 chapters or so, I don't remember how many, are just kind of not pleasant, because the male, I'll say it, the male lead forces himself on the main character out of, I don't want to say necessity, but out of necessity, because I don't think this would necessarily give the plot away. It's kind of more like a summary. The main character has an issue with demons that are like always molesting him and touching on him. And Jaishin is a demon, half demon from the underworld, who comes up and ends up getting the other demons to back away. But in order to do that, well, they eventually come to an agreement. Uh, okay, so in the Arha group, you're saying has Painter of the Night vibes. So from what I have heard from my Arha chat, from people who have read both the Devil's Night Song and the Ghost Nocturne and Painter of the Night, they say it is not like Painter of the Night. Um, Actually, from what they say, because I refuse to read it after what they said, Painter of the Night is just like an absolute no-go. They said that it just gets worse and worse, and there really is no progression of any kind for the character. It's not the same in this. I can't say that from personal experience because I haven't read Painter of the Night, but there was a discussion about it in the group and they were saying, no, it's not the same. So there is a bit of a difference, but yeah, pretty much. So now going to webtoons. I've started some webtoons. Toons. Sometimes it's really hard to talk with these in. But I pretty much dropped them all. I'm not really a big manhwa reader, so I don't have any webtoons to recommend. I've read and finished some, but I wouldn't recommend them. They're in red on my list. And then for a manhwa, Chinese, I'm so mad because I can recommend this to you, but I can't recommend it to you because it's just not. It's called A Moonlit Spring River by Zhao Puling. And I couldn't finish it because I was reading off of unofficial sites, and the translations in English, I had them for a bit. And when Bilibili Comics was up, they had the chapters up to like chapter 70, but then, Bilibili shut down. And now there's no more translation. It's all in Mandarin. And using like a translation app, it just doesn't translate that well. And there are like over 200 something chapters. And I know that it's being sold like in China, but every time I try to look, I can't find a way to like get it here. And so it was really good though. I was really, really liking it. It was about a eunuch and a general. And it was so good. But I think at some point I just stopped reading it because the translation thing, it just wasn't working out for me. Not to mention, because they did have some like sexual scenes, I was getting so tired. It didn't happen often, but I was getting so tired of it being like completely whited out on the screen. I was like, oh my gosh, this is so annoying. And so all of the things, it was just too much for that. But if you can find A Moonlit Spring River, and if you just want to read it anyway with the translator app going on the phone, you're more than welcome to do it. But I absolutely thought like this was going to be the bee's knees when I first started it in Bilibili, and I was upset, so upset when they decided to not give us that access anymore. And so I tried actually to buy it off Bilibili, just on the website because it's there. But I was having a hard time like transferring the whole money thing. And then they wanted my WeChat information, which was asking for like my driver's license and stuff. And I was like, no. So I just wanted to be more safe than sorry. The Mafia Nanny. I've heard about that. I saw it pop up many times and saved it, but I just never read it. I have webtoons on my phone and I open it maybe like twice a year. Just be like, is there anything here? And then I just leave. So I said, yeah, no, they don't need that info if you're wanting a book. Yeah, that's how I feel. So I was just like, okay, I guess I won't be reading the rest of this manhwa. And maybe one day we can get it here in the US. We'll see. If not, I'll just have to move to China. 中国我来了. Question number 11. Have you drawn any fan art? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm not that good of a drawer. And I mean, I can draw well enough to paint, but no. But also, that would take too much time away from me reading. Because if I draw fan art and I paint and I work and I do school and I read fan fiction and I now watch C-drama, I can't have too many hobbies. So we are not adding on fan art to this collection. So second lead syndrome is fun. Let's see. Fan art, painted fan art, easy. Not if it's original. If I have to come up with the fan art and come up with how they look, that's where the problem lies. I just started painting, you guys. So like, if you guys do fan art, please feel free to share it. I will look at it. I guess I should figure out how you guys can share it. Would I put an email up somewhere for you guys to email? I don't know. Maybe I should get a P.O. box. I don't know. You can send me fan art. I don't know if we're at that level yet. Anyway. Oh, thank you, JL. I am so, see, this is why I have lists. And I must have just missed that because I was looking on my regular, I was looking on the wrong list. It's not highlighted here, which is why I missed it. I have, if I have to give myself a favorite Japanese anime, it's Cherry Magic. How did I skip that? It has a 9 out of 10, but I didn't highlight it as a favorite, so I missed it. Yeah. And I also love Yuri on Ice. Oh my God. Um, man, so many. My New Boss is Goofy was great. Skate the Infinity, amazing. I also really like Bungo Stray Dogs. Mind you, season 3 was kind of womp womp. And then I could not do Junjo Romantica. I just couldn't. So anyway, yeah, Cherry Magic, Yuri, Skate Infinity, Chef's Kiss. Let's see. Magician Girl Mirani says baby steps. Maybe. So then let's see. Junjo is so old. It was recommended to me by one of my buddies, online buddies, and I told her, I was like, I could not watch this. And she was like, just keep watching, give it a little. I was like, no, I cannot. I don't like it. Yuri on Ice, that one got me back into anime after a while of not watching. Bungo Stray Dogs is great. Working on a Chuya cosplay. Oh, that probably is going to look so great. I would love to see that. My fave Yuri on Ice scene is not an anime. LOL. Nice. Let's see. Did I miss any questions? Okay, it didn't look like I missed any. Yes, his dance was beautiful, and I was upset by the time I saw it. Actually, I tried to look at it recently, but everybody is like layering music over it and stuff to other things, and I'm like, oh, I just want to hear the original, but I guess it's just gone. And I was so upset for this adolescence movie that they had for Victor, I guess back in the day or whatever, and it took so many years, and then they were like, we're not doing that anymore. Which, mind you, I was newer to watching it, but I still felt the disappointment that all the people who watched Yuri on Ice forever ago. I need some water. I don't know if you guys can hear me swallowing. That's a weird thought. I hope not. Okay. Mappa, you villains. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel about Mappa. I said Mappa, I don't know why. Do you have any favorite Danmei pairings, i.e. Hualien, Wangxian, etc., etc.? Hualien, I feel like you guys would know because I relate to it personally after I shared my story or a little bit of it. Outside of that, who am I going to say? Who's my favorite pairing? I don't even want to say it. I want someone in the comments to say it. So I'll sit here and wait. Exactly. Magician Girl Marani, you are correct. Ding, ding, ding. It is Shun Jingchu. I mean, Shun Chao and Yan Wusher. Yes, Yan Shun is my favorite pairing. Okay, now that we got our Yan Wusher Love Society, what was it called again? Oh, crap, I don't even remember our society's name. That's a problem. I need to go look at the comments. Those are my favorite pairings. Let's see. Are there any Danmei pairings you dislike and or think wouldn't last as a couple? Yan Washi Appreciation Society. Yes, because it was YWSAS. Yeah, that's what it was. So, any pairings that I dislike or don't think would last long? I'm gonna say Junlian. I've seen some fan fiction or people that ship Junwoo and Xilian. They're just like oil and water, baby. They would not mix well. I don't think they would. And then Wei Wuxian and Jiang Cheng. Some people have made those pairings. And I'm just like, man, I don't think that would work out. I just think Jiang Chung, even in the regular series, he was not truly able to get over himself and the feelings he had. And he got called out by Jin Ling. Like, this is why he feels the way he feels, this is why y'all have your problem now. So, because of the complexities of his feelings and his thoughts, I just can't see that. Plus, I view them more as brothers because they grew up together. It is kind of weird for me. So that's a pairing that I don't like. And just, I don't think it would last even if they tried. That would not be a healthy relationship, says Magician Girl Mirani. And they were kind of raised as siblings. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's kind of icky to me to even think of it like, oh yeah, they would work out. I'm like, oh, the hell they would. I don't think so. Which, don't get me wrong, I actually don't mind all the things that they went through being like the past. If, let's say, if they weren't, living together like brothers, because I can see a world where things could work out had we seen some kind of developmental growth on Jiang Chung's part. But we didn't. His character was just kind of stunted and stayed where he was. So, no. What's my favorite crack pairing? In Danmei or in general? I feel that's important to clarify. So, I'll wait for you. You saw a few NMJ Wei Wuxian pairings. Remind me of, it's Nie Mingjing. What's the name again? That was what it was. It's been so long since I've read Mo Dao Zushi. In Danmei. Okay. My favorite crack pairing. That's a great question. For the longest, I don't think I have one now, but I will say for the longest time, it actually was Hualien. Like for 6 months after I finished reading TGCF, I read so many TGCF fan fictions. It was like, yeah, crack. It was cocaine. It was everything. And I just was snorting it, injecting it, smoking it in, and every way I possibly could. But yeah, right now, I don't have one. I think at some point it could have been Wandran. Wandran. But because I've taken too much time in between each book, I feel like I kind of didn't give it the chance to really fester in my heart like that. So yeah. You said you hope you typed it right. I know who you're talking about. It's just not coming to my brain because I thought it was okay. So I said it earlier. Nieming. Oh, I said Jeb. It's Jue. I suppose that could work out. Yeah. Yeah. In all honesty, if there is a pairing that would be my least favorite, not that I dislike it, but that would be my least favorite out of all the Danmei that I have read, it would actually be Lan Wangji and Wei Wuxian. Sorry for anyone if that disappoints you. But that would be my least favorite pairing of all the pairings. And the reason being, I just wasn't feeling the whole romance between them when it finally came. And I'm not gonna lie, y'all. When I first read it, number one, it was actually my very first Danmei. But when I read the incense burner scenes, I'm a different person now. But when I read the incense burner scenes, specifically when it went to Lan Wangji's dream in that study room, the library, whatever it was, I don't remember. I felt really off about it at the time. And no matter how many times I reread it, I couldn't get with it. And yes, the confession was also a bit awkward. And it was just kind of, the connection between them wasn't fully meshing for me. So I would say that's probably my least favorite. When we talk about developmental wise, I would say my next least favorite, even though there are aspects of my heart that are always with it, would actually be Hualien. I feel like it's weird. It's my favorite, but also not my favorite because it took so long for for things to happen. Actually, no, that's not the case. More so because in some ways I felt like things could have been built a little better. So it's weird that they're my favorite and also not my favorite. Can I be contradictory like that? I'm gonna be contradictory like that. Yeah. Magician Girl Marani says, don't think I actually read that scene. You heard about it though. Modazushir was my first dame too. A friend recommended it. Yeah, I think one day, not for this video, but I'm thinking one day I will actually do a video on how I got into dame. If that's something y'all are interested in. If not, I won't. But if so, I will do that video because I think it would be interesting because it's quite the story to tell. Um, he says, same, feel like it's a lot of people's first dame. Yes. And that's only because I accidentally stumbled across the Untamed. So, yeah. I mean, that's what fanfics are for. Absolutely. I love fanfics so much. We can explore things in a way that the authors never did. Absolutely. Which is why I love No Paths Are Bound so much. I feel like No Paths Are Bound is better than TGCF. That's my personal opinion. Do you have a favorite anime ship? I do. I do. Um, my favorite anime ship is right behind me. Yeah. I'm one of those people. I am. I am. And hold on. Not ashamed to admit it. Now, I don't like the chaoticness of the fandom for My Hero Academia, but I'm also not part of the fandom. Like, I don't go out and do things with the fandom. I'm not some crazy person over here. If I read a fan fiction with Bakudeku, I have to see some development. I mean, just like in the anime, because Bakugo's character really morphed throughout the anime. And so I can't read something, I guess that's just abusive or something like that. It's my favorite. I don't know. I just really like the tragic backstory of the bullying and stuff, and then that morphing into something else. Not that all of the fan fictions are actually like that. Some of them they don't even know each other. So that's my favorite. Another anime ship that I absolutely love. One second. Because I have to look just to make sure. I also do like Totodeku. But you know another one I love? Shindeku. I also have done some Toto Shindekus, and those are quite nice as well. Sometimes I don't like Totodeku because the stories are boring. Like I feel like I mean Todoroki is kind of boring, but I've read some fan fictions where they make him extremely boring. Polydeku. I tried a Deku Ball fanfic and it was awful. So I was like, okay, we're just gonna stick to him being with one or two other people and just call it a day. I will say another ship that I have though, um, less obvious, but that would actually be Kageyama and Hinata, which they are also behind me, but Tsukishima's there as well. I thought they were cute in the anime. That volleyball anime was so amazing. I never looked at volleyball that way before, but that's another ship that I have that I absolutely love in anime. Um, and then for the most part, I think I just stick to whatever the show is showing. Like I just stick to the ship that's originally in the show. Kiribaku. I've read a Kiribaku Deku, but I don't know. I like Kiribaku as a ship, but I don't read the fanfics. I don't know. Anyway, So you said, oh, those. Yeah, nope. Okay, I have 3 questions left on here, and then I can talk to you guys really. We're going a little bit over. I hope that's okay. But then we can talk about the gifts. Okay. So question number 14, but not really. Oh, I actually might skip that one. That's a little hard. We'll come back to it. I'm gonna go to question number 15. But someone says, I used to ship All Might with Deku's mom, but then I learned she wasn't divorced. I'm not mad at people that ship them. I think that's cute because All Might is like a father figure to Izuku. So someone said, "Oh no, more time talking, but a shame." Oh, I already figured if I go like up to 4 p.m., it's fine. Not to say that I'm trying to, but I don't mind. So, question number 15 on the paper: which Danmei tropes or archetypes do you think resonate most with non-queer people, and why? So I found this question very difficult to answer because I was like, wait, do straight people and homosexual people like not have the same interests? But like I don't think your sexuality necessarily determines what you're interested in. However, what I can say for myself as a straight person is that I absolutely love enemies to lovers. For me, I think maybe that would be a good one to choose because it speaks beyond attraction and really goes more to in seeing a person for who they are. Because from enemies to lovers, you're going from people who have different ideals. They have these battles to overcome with the other person. And they're forced to work together. And it shows that attraction is not something that is just simply based on the sex of the person. It's based on their character that entices you. And then it's like, well, yes, boom, there's also the sexual orientation. Of course, people have them. But I think if I had to choose something, I would say enemies to lovers, because it's going from someone that you don't like, that you end up liking, that you end up loving. I mean, the character, not you, but the character ends up loving, will die for. So maybe that if we try to like look from that perspective, maybe I just pulled that out of my butt. Yeah. um, you'll love Ballad of Sword and Wine. I heard it is exactly that. Yep. That I've heard enemies to lovers. I love enemies to lovers. Yes. Then let me see. Thank you for the live stream and for all your readings. Looking forward to more audiobook readings. Have a good night. You too, JL. Well, I need. It's good to see you. So then, question 16. Are there any Danmei stories you'd love to see adapted, but worry might not be filmable under current restrictions? All of them. All of them. Um, Obviously Arha, which we're never getting that show, the C drama that they have. I would love to see a live action version of SVSSS and live action version of Thousand Autumns. I think that would be super cool. But at least speaking of things that would be deemed unfilmable, those would, especially SVSSS and Arha. I feel like they'd be able to make their way around Thousand Autumns. They can do it. There's not even any sex in there. Okay, it was Fade to Black. They can do it. Go ahead and give us the second season of the Donghua. So frustrated. So, yeah. And then the last question there was, I'm gonna look at it and see if I can answer it, but if not, I'll leave it alone. Was how would you describe the appeal of Danmei to someone unfamiliar with it? What sets it apart from other queer romance genres? So I can't answer that second question because I've never read any other queer romance genres. Danmei is how I got into queer romance, and I haven't branched outside of Danmei. Yeah. So how would I describe the appeal of Danmei to someone who is unfamiliar with it? I think the first thing to bring to people And maybe this is not something that's just exclusive to Danmei. Maybe this is just how they write in China in general. But the writing, and I'm not saying necessarily the writing style, but the thought that goes into the plot lines and the depth of the characters, I think is much more amazing than any um, other book I've ever read in any other genre ever. And I haven't had any interest in reading other genres other than Danmei because they just read so well. They write so well, and they're always provoking you to think more deeply. And it's crazy because I feel the same way about C dramas. When I first started watching them, I felt like the way that their approach to pulling on the human emotion was just so much better than how we do it in America. Now, mind you, I haven't watched things from, India or, somewhere else, but the way that they pull the human emotion out in such a way that we don't do here in my country is what I think would appeal to someone else because, like even thinking about something like Modao Zushi and how someone being mistreated by people could lead to them taking such extreme measures, of revenge or just thinking about how like resentment in a lot of the stories is brought forth via ghosts and spirits and dark arts and stuff like that in a way that we don't see here. And I just really like how the human emotions are brought out more. um I don't know, like the closest thing I think plot wise that really caught my interest since I started watching C dramas and reading um, Danmei would be YOU. I think that plot was pretty good. I don't know what they're doing with the fifth season. I haven't watched it, but I would say that was pretty complex and pretty much like throwing me for a loop and everything. But other than that, I can't think of anything else. So if I had to appeal to someone with Danmei, yeah, I would just say that the Chinese writers are superior. As the comments, well, this says they're amazing. I just feel like they're superior. Tried the first season, but stopped after. I think it's actually good. The crazy thing is, after the second season of You, I was like, they're coming out with a third season? Why? That's so unnecessary. They don't need to do that. Where else can they go? But then when they did, I was like, oh, okay, I see that. That was actually great. But then at the end of the third season, they were like, we're going to do a fourth season. And I was like, why? You could have just ended it there. Why do we need to continue? Where else can this go? But then I watched the fourth season and it actually started kind of boring, but then it got better and then it made so much sense in the end. It was actually really, really good. But after this fourth one, for sure now, I do want to watch the fifth one just to watch it. But I'm just kind of like, okay, after the fourth season, what else can you guys possibly do here? Please tell me, because we need to come to an end. At this point, he needs to die or go to jail. Like, that's it. He just needs to be done with. One second. Oh, that's some good water. Um, but yeah, You is quite interesting. So the opposite of the supernatural effect. Um, it's going to be like The Walking Dead. So, the crazy thing with The Walking Dead is I understood when the seasons continued. I did stop watching. I think after season 9 was that when Rick went missing or whatever. Because I was upset. I was already upset when they took Carl away. Because I was like, y'all doing? And the main character? Oh, heck no. I was done. But I did go back and watch, and actually enjoyed those seasons. Mind you, I haven't really watched the spin-offs and stuff like that. I'm just not interested. Even the one with Rick and Michonne, like I want him back, but it's kind of like y'all just Y'all took the gusto away from me. So you think the fourth season is lacking compared to others? I do as well. I think it presents some heavier psychological problems for sure, but it was kind of lacking. Um but yeah, from the aspect that it just showed how jacked up he was mentally, I did appreciate that aspect. And that plot twist that I won't share, it was like, whoa. Okay, well, season 5 better be the last, because if there's another one, no. Okay, so then oh, that's a big ass bottle. It's 64 ounces. My husband got it for me from his job. He already has 2. He gave me 1, and it helps me to drink more water. So here we are. If you don't randomly, if you're in America, the rule is if you don't randomly just speak with a British accent, there's a problem, especially if you're a woman. Actually, pretty much if you're a woman, you just need to randomly switch. So if that just happens every now and then, that just is what it is. Anyway, those are those are not all the questions. Wait, there were 3 left. Let me see. I'll see if I can go through these really quickly. So one of the questions was, have there ever been any moments where you second guess sharing your voice or this kind of content publicly? And how did you push through that? Absolutely. The only thing I could do was remember what my dad told me and what my sister told me. Because my dad was actually the one who told me that I have a really nice reading voice. And I was like, okay, cool. And sometimes I still don't like my voice. But what I did is I just recorded anyway when I first started. And then I would go back and listen. And I think going back and listening to myself helped me to like my voice more. Instead of just listening to my voice from when I'm talking, play it back. And you might actually find that you like your voice. Okay, next question. What's a Danmei related hill you'll happily die on, be it Ship Wars in Stars of Chaos, any in the mountains, peaks in okay. The point is, what's a Danmei related hill I will happily die on? I kind of mentioned it already, but I absolutely hated the incense burner scene that showed the dream of Lan Wangji screwing Wei Wuxian in that library or whatever the room was, the quiet room that I do not remember. I hated it. I get, again, if I read it now, I might feel differently because I'm reading The Ghost Nocturne and he was forced upon. But anyway, when I read it as my first Danmei, I was like, he's forcing himself on him. Now, adult Wei Wuxian was like, oh yeah. But I was like, this is not a good scene at all. He's hurting. I just can't get with it. No, I cannot. So that's it. Yeah. And then the last question, if you could elaborate with one, y'all are gonna know the answer to this question. But before I answer it, hold on. Is your inner voice different from the external voice? Yeah, it is. Which is why I think it's important for me to listen. Like they're similar, but when I am listening to myself read, to me it sounds different. Because you hear differently inside than you do outside. So the hill that I die on, because I know so many people like them, is the incense burners and like, ooh, spicy and stuff like that. Which don't get me wrong, I guess the sticking the sword up, his booty hole, that's whatever it is. But I don't like the incense burner scenes. I think they're awful. I think MXDX should have left them out. Um, Now the last question. If you could collaborate with one Danmei author for a deep dive episode, who would it be and what would you ask them? We know exactly who that author would be because what are we? The Yan Washi Appreciation Society. So, you said you're still in chapter 8 of Modal Zusher. Um, oops. I try not to give any spoilers of anything away, but yeah. So yeah. Monk Shishir would obviously be the author that I want to go into a deep dive with into their minds, just wanting to know like what inspired them to create the main characters and their fundamental cores. Um, and what inspired them to create a story of people basically being like fundamentally different and yet also the same. And was there, I guess, like a specific intention behind showing the complexities and the duality of human nature and knowing that two truths can exist at the same time? Or if that kind of just was that something that they always wanted to make into a message, or if it kind of just blossomed into that toward the end? So that obviously would have to be a question when we get the members for the Yan Washi Appreciation Society. We would have to find Muncie Shur so that we can collaborate. That was the last question on there. I will allow room for one more question here in the chat if anyone has one before we move on to the end of this, because we are reaching that limit. And I never knew that talking for an hour and 45 minutes could be so. Whew. I'm enjoying it though. But it is like I should drink more water. It'd be an hour-long deep dive about Yan Washi. Absolutely. Just on him alone before we even move to another character. So I'll just leave a couple seconds for you guys to ask questions, like one or two more questions. And then if not, we will just move on to the end. Beep, boop, beep, boop, beep, 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 boop, 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 beep, boop, beep, boop. Also, almost all of these figurines were bought this year. I've spent a ghastly amount of money on figurines this year. I would say it's embarrassing, but it's not, because I get to do pretty much whatever I want with my money. Okay, I see two questions, so we'll only ask these two by Magician Girl Narani and Granddad Am I. So the first one, as someone who DMs for a group for D&D, oh yeah, talking for a few hours means you need to stay hydrated. Oh, that wasn't a question. Yeah, I probably should have drunk after like every question. So Granddad Amai says, would you ever do a live only reading a book? So the interesting thing about that is I actually will be doing that, but not on YouTube. So you guys know, at least some of you may know, that I'm creating a Patreon. And the reason that Patreon was being created was so that I could safely and comfortably read the NSFW scenes without worrying about them violating like YouTube guidelines and being taken down. But because not every book I read will have NSFW stuff in it, I was like, okay, well, I have to give people on Patreon some kind of other incentive to pay. I mean, it's a measly $3 a month. But so one of the things that they will get as an advantage is getting everything I read released a week early. They will also get the not safe for work stuff. Whereas you guys, I will say, hi, from pages 129 to 137, there is not safe for work here. You can pause and go read it, or you can continue on, or something like that. But they'll be getting that. And twice a month, we will be going live on the Patreon. I felt like all those things combined would be worth them paying $3 a month for. Technically, they could probably pay more, maybe $5 a month. Maybe I'll, raise that price, I don't know, sometime later. But live readings will be done on the Patreon only, at least for now. It may change in the future. I just don't want to dedicate too much time to this, knowing the other things in my life that I do. Because I'm really trying not to burn myself out, especially with everything that has happened this year, with me literally coming into the new year feeling like I was going to die and trying to adjust around my adenomyosis and the physical pains it's been causing me. So, that's why I even left the message on my last Devil Venerable Wants to Know video that from now on we're doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. And I'll just try to make Monday videos longer. Trying to adjust. It's all a process. She said, that makes sense. Cries and poor, but makes sense. Well, if you can't spare $3, that's totally fine. But if you can, I welcome you over, Granddad Am I. Maybe every blue moon I'll do a live reading here just for the heck of it. I have liked going live with you guys, so I'll need to find more excuses to do so. So let's get to these gifts. So I don't know how we're going to go about this just yet, but one of the gifts I wanted to give, which I know everyone's around the world, so we'll just have to figure out how to do it. Yeah, we didn't scare her away. Good work, everyone. Is I want to give someone $50. You can use it for Don May. You can use it to go out to eat. You can use it to pay a bill. I don't care what you do with it. But I just wanted to gift someone $50 and figured we could do like a little I did not think this through thoroughly. Probably should have, but there's been a lot going on how I'll pick who does it. So, okay. I'm thinking of a number. Actually, I'll know what I'll do. I'll think of a number between 1 and 20, and then I'll let you all put the number. And then I'll put the names of you down, and then I can put in my computer really quickly like a random prize winner pick, and then you will be the winner of the $50. I will give my email so that you can I guess just email me with your, if you, unless you have like a Cash App or Zelle or something and you just want to comment it in the chat, that's totally fine. Um so let's do that first. So let's see. Okay. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 20. You guys can go ahead and put what you think. So I'll either pick the person who gives me that number exactly, or if there are multiple people who pick the same number exactly or close to it, then I'll do the randomizer. So I'll let you guys do that for a second. And random name wheel, because I've used this before. Yep, this is the exact one that was sent to me. So we have 17, 19, 11, 15. Okay. So already seeing. Next time I'll try to like think better about this. Because I'm like, okay, Magic Girl Marani says we like our odd numbers. I feel you. I feel you. They're more pleasing. Absolutely they are. Yes, they are. Okay. I think everyone has responded with what they think. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know like one is just me. Oops. They absolutely are. You guys are going to be so disappointed in what the number is that I chose. Okay, so there are no more numbers coming in. So we have 2 people who are the closest. Actually, they are right around both numbers. So the number that I thought was 16. So, because I felt like someone would, you guys would pick odd numbers. So I picked an even one. And the funny thing is, Granddad am I, 17 was going to be the number I picked. But I said, no, let's just minus one. So I'm going to select between, let's see, Ashley and Granddad Amai. We're going to have it pick for me. I don't know if y'all can hear the dial, like boop, 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 boop. So I don't think I can share my screen. Could I have? I could have. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I totally would have done it, but it landed on Granddad of mine. So, and if you don't believe me, hold on, because I'm not picking. I'm gonna take a picture of it. Okay, and then show you. See, there it is, Granddad of mine. So it's you. Move that to trash now. He said, amazing, LMAO. Can I choose how to have it donated to a charity in your choice? Sure. Like I said, I don't care how you use it. I guess I don't know, a charity like here in America, or like in my choice for where you are, because I don't know. I don't know. And I'm trying to remember, um, where did you say you were located again? Yeah, in America. Okay. Hmm. To a charity of my choice. Can it be a charity of your choice? Since it's your win, I think it would be better if you choose. Um, yeah, you're in America. Oh yeah, it was Montenegro. Where is that exactly? If you don't mind, because I've never heard of. There must be a city in Texas. No, I have no idea. The Balkans. Um, yes, I can donate it. I'll figure out where, and then I can maybe in my Monday video can tell you where it was donated to. Is that okay with you? Yes. No. Maybe so. Sure. Boo sure. Okay. Cool. So I just have to figure that out. I used to donate to a charity a while ago, but that was like a monthly thing. I don't know if they would allow me to just submit like one payment to them. We'll see. So congratulations on your win. And I think that's so sweet that instead of taking the money for yourself, which you totally could, you're like, donate it to a charity. So now the other giveaway, which may not be as exciting, and it may not even be something that we do here in the live. It may just be something that I have to like announce later. Was actually going to be to give away my Guardian novels, because obviously I don't want them. I didn't like it. But I do know there were several people that that were sad I wasn't continuing to read it because they like it. And so to me, it was like, for those people that enjoy it, but they don't have the physical copies, I don't mind giving them away. But for anyone we have here, I'll tell you what, we can either do Golden Terrace or Guardian. So between the two, if you don't have it already, then if you want a chance at winning either of those, we can do the same method. You just put a number and we'll choose from there. And I will put my email in the chat, and then you guys can reach out to me. And if you're comfortable with doing so, of course, because if not, then I can't send you the books. But if you're comfortable with sending me your address, then I will more than gladly send my copy of either Guardian or Golden Terrace to you. You get to choose. So again, this time the number will be between, it'll be between 20 and 50. So yeah, you said, oh, I'm out. Physical books really don't do it for me. Waves of hands and like Toph from Avatar. I love Avatar. Avatar was great, and I love Toph. So if nobody wants those, then we can just like, where do you live? You said you don't live in America, so it would be difficult. Probably. Might take me a little longer to ship it to you, depending on like the cost, but that's okay. We said I will opt out since I've already won, and shipping fees are ridiculous here. Meh. Great blind rip. So I mean, if nobody wants it, that's totally fine. Also, there are people who may look at this later, and so we'll figure it out. Um, Great. Okay. I will keep these books on my shelf for now then. I thought about donating them to like a little library box that's like outside, but I wanted to go to someone for sure that I know likes Don May and likes those particular books. So I will hold on to them, and then we'll just see. You'll get rid of them someday. Yeah, someday. So we have reached the end of the live Q&A session with Mari Chan. Maybe eBay. Maybe. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Those of you who stayed the entire time, those of you who had to go early, those of you who come back, those of you who come later, I appreciate this. This was actually really, really fun. I don't mind doing more of these. Um, so, yeah, if you guys, I do want to say, if you ever have any ideas for videos that you might want me to do, just let me know. I don't mind doing something other than reading. Um, yeah. So that's pretty much it. I appreciate you, Granddad Amai. Stay away from me, Magician Girl Mirani, um, Ashley. Who else was here? I think Dastardly Dragon had to. No, you're still here. There were some other people that had to go away. Rubies. I appreciate all of you for coming here, and it's been really, really fun. I don't want to ramble, so I'm going to say, well, Niman. Good night if it's nighttime. What a good name. What's a good name? um, if you are in the morning time, then have a good day, and I'll see you all next time. Okay, my figurines say goodbye to you all.